Yeah.
Well, I haven't asked it.
Yes, so Henry Dimbleby, as you no doubt know, suggested that the least productive farmland, like uplands and peatlands, could be taken out of food production. And do you think that would be a good idea in the round, Minette?
No, I absolutely do not think it would be a good idea. And when I am given that statement, you know, if you are farming in the uplands, it is the hardest place to farm. And productive farming has underpinned and shaped our iconic landscapes for millennia. And so when I get that challenge put to me that we can just take production away from the hills, my continual pushback is, and what about the people? What about the people who have shaped this landscape? They have evolved throughout millennia. They will continue to evolve, and they will farm with the policies that they have available to them. Now, those upland farmers are just as ambitious as farmers anywhere else. They know they can deliver climate-smart agriculture. They know they can deliver on net zero. And work with them, work with the people. I can't believe that we would ever support a situation that effectively sounds equivalent to the land clearances. Those people have shaped those iconic landscapes, and they underpin the rural economy in those areas. And they are absolutely vital to maintaining them. And that is my pushback to it. So I really do not agree, and I find it a very, very challenging and unfair conversation to have.
And in Wales, as it happens, there have been cases, for instance, of British Airways trying to buy up sheep farms in order to plant trees to offset carbon, to fly more planes. Then, obviously, we've got an Australian trade deal where we could end up flying sheep into Wales to eat because it's full of woodland on the hills. Is that something that you recognise, and what's your view on that?
It's something that government is going to have to act on, I think, and very, very swiftly, or we are just a country that is effectively up for sale. You know, we, of course, want to plant more trees. There's nothing wrong with planting trees, but I think there is a big issue with selling land potentially to foreign investors who are not even paying their taxes here, who before we know it will be potentially pulling down public monies, taxpayers' monies, to be able to plant those very same trees with. So this area really does need critical attention, and it's why I made the point to the earlier question about making sure that food production doesn't become the poor relation, because there's a real danger that actually big corporates buy up farmland. You're seeing the requirements on net gain for housing developers, and food production will just become unimportant in the bigger scheme of things. So we've got to make sure that, yes, trees, but let's make sure that food production is happening alongside that. And fundamentally, this is about land sharing. We've got ever greater requirements out of our land use. Let's share that land. Let's do it better. But let's not make this binary choice between land sparing as a way forward. It's got to be about sharing our land and working together on it.
And would that include inshore wind farms, as we do in Wales, do you think? Do you think there's two farmers could combine food production with more green energy from wind farms on some land?
I think there's enormous opportunity with renewable energy in general. You know, we have huge amounts of farm buildings that could be having solar put on it. You know, why are not all buildings collecting rainwater? Why are they not all being covered in solar? Turbines on individual farms, you know, not going to blotting the landscape at all, making them far more energy resilient and helpful to local communities. And of course, you know, there are challenges with a national grid and not a local grid, but that can all be overcome going forward. So I try and focus all the time as agriculture and farming being the solution to the wider economy and not just for food.